Countless women claim they're searching for a good man, someone caring, patient, and attentive listener, someone who never picks fights, someone who consistently puts her needs first. Ask enough women what they desire, and these same traits keep surfacing. On paper, none of this sounds unreasonable. But this is precisely where a lot of men go wrong. They interpret these words as meaning that being a good man requires agreeing with everything, putting up with any behavior, dodging every conflict, and endlessly working to keep her satisfied. Then they're baffled when the same woman who claimed to want a good man gradually stops respecting them. So today, I'm breaking down 5 reasons why plenty of women don't actually want the version of a good man that most men turn into. Before you push back, hear me out until the end, because this isn't an attack on good men. It's about a massive misconception men carry about how women think. Grasping this could transform how you approach relationships entirely. Welcome if you're new here. I'm Isabella, and this channel dives into female psychology, the dynamics of relationships, and the uncomfortable truths that help men create stronger, healthier connections that earn genuine respect. If that resonates with you, hit subscribe, because every week we tackle subjects many people quietly wonder about but rarely say aloud. Let's dive into reason number 1. Speaking as a woman, here's something most women will never spell out for you. Being a good man isn't the same as being a compliant one. These are entirely separate concepts. One area where women genuinely struggle is making sound choices when emotions take the wheel. We can recognize something is clearly a mistake and still feel pulled toward doing it regardless. Sometimes our feelings drown out our reasoning. This is precisely why many women don't need a man who validates every emotionally driven choice they make. What they need is a man capable of steadily meeting their gaze and saying, "No, that's not happening. That's a mistake." Ironically, that single no often builds more respect than 100 agreements would. A man who's scared to push back because he doesn't want to upset her might think he's showing love, but many women perceive something entirely different. They see a man terrified of losing her approval. And once a woman senses you're afraid to stand firm in your own beliefs, her perception of you quietly starts to shift. The reason behind this is simple. Many women want a man capable of leading, not because they crave control, but because they recognize emotions can distort clear thinking. Every woman has lived through moments where her heart pushed one direction while her rational mind pulled another. That's simply part of being human. This is precisely why women naturally gravitate toward a man unafraid to say, "No, I don't believe that's the right call." Notice the distinction. I'm not describing a controlling man. The difference is enormous. A controlling man dictates because he craves dominance over her. A confident man says no because he's weighing consequences, even knowing she might not welcome hearing it right then. Many men live in fear of disagreeing, convinced that pushback will drive a woman away. So instead, they nod along with everything. They back every choice she makes, even ones they recognize as flawed. They sidestep tough conversations, terrified she'll grow upset, angry, or leave entirely. Ironically, this exact pattern is where many men start losing her respect. Speaking as a woman, I'll tell you plainly, respect builds when a man holds firm convictions. It grows when he can calmly stand by his principles without turning emotional, defensive, or hostile. It strengthens when his choices stem from wisdom rather than fear. If a woman gets upset simply because you disagreed with her respectfully, don't automatically assume you're in the wrong. Sometimes she's simply testing whether she's dealing with a man capable of respecting himself. Because truthfully, a woman who genuinely respects you never expects blanket agreement. She expects the strength in you to speak truth, even when it's uncomfortable to hear. Real respect isn't built on agreement, it's built on a man secure enough to disagree with love, hold his ground with grace, and never trade his convictions for temporary peace. The men women remember aren't the ones who bent to keep her happy, they're the ones who stayed whole, stayed grounded, and never once apologized for having a spine. Because in the end, the good man isn't the one who disappears into a woman's every mood. He's the one who remains fully himself beside her, strong enough to lead, calm enough to stay, wise enough to walk away when respect is gone, and secure enough to never confuse love with self-abandonment. That is the man worth becoming. Not softer, not smaller. Just unshakably, unapologetically whole. Let's start with reason 1. As a woman, let me tell you something most women never explain clearly. Being a good man isn't the same as being an agreeable one. These are two completely different things. One thing women are genuinely bad at is making sound decisions when emotions take over. We can recognize something is wrong and still feel tempted to do it anyway. Sometimes our emotions speak louder than our judgment. That's exactly why many women don't need a man who agrees with every emotional decision they make. They need a man who can calmly look them in the eye and say, "No, you're not doing that. It's a bad idea." Ironically, that no often earns more respect than 100 yes. A man afraid to disagree because he doesn't want to upset her may believe he's being loving, but women often see something very different, a man afraid of losing her approval. And the moment she senses you're afraid to stand on your own convictions, the way she sees you quietly begins to shift. The reason is simple. Many women want a man who can lead, not because they want control, but because they know emotions can cloud judgment. Every woman has experienced her feelings pulling one way while logic pulls another. That's part of being human. This is why women naturally admire a man unafraid to say, "No, I don't think that's the right decision." Notice, not a controlling man. There's a huge difference. A controlling man dictates because he wants power over her. A confident man says no because he's thinking about consequences, even if she won't like hearing it. Many men fear that disagreement will push a woman away, so they agree with everything, support every decision, even the wrong ones, and avoid hard conversations out of fear she'll get upset or leave. Ironically, that's exactly where respect begins slipping away. Respect grows when a man holds convictions, stands on his principles without becoming defensive or aggressive, and makes decisions rooted in wisdom instead of fear. If she gets upset simply because you respectfully disagreed, don't assume you did something wrong. Sometimes she's testing whether you can stand firm. Because a woman who truly respects you doesn't need constant agreement. She needs you strong enough to speak the truth, even when it's hard to hear. That leads to something bigger than agreement or disagreement, bigger than boundaries or convictions. It comes down to this: a woman doesn't fall for a man who disappears to keep her comfortable. She falls for the one who stays fully himself, standing tall even when it costs him her approval for a moment, because he knows real love was never about shrinking. The good man isn't soft. He isn't silent. He isn't scared. He is steady, calm in the storm, honest in the hard moments, unwavering in his worth. He leads without controlling. He loves without losing himself. He stays not out of fear, but choice, and walks away the instant respect disappears. That is the man women remember.